That's one small step for man, one giant leap for the internet. And it all started here in 1957 with the launch of Sputnik, the first satellite in space. Here we saw the beginnings of a network that would one day reach across the entire globe. As great as that was, the first signs of the technology a little closer to home came about in 1962, when Paul Barron introduced his packet switching network to the Brand Corporation. This system of data exchange between terminals was originally designed not for networking, but for maintaining control of nuclear armaments in the event of an attack. It was here in 1969 that the first real data exchange network was created. Designed and assembled by this ragtag team of BBN employees, the so-called ARPANET linked 4 terminals across the western face of the U.S. The nodes were located in the University of California of Los Angeles, SRI in Stanford, the University of California of Santa Barbara, and the University of Utah.
You've got mail.
There it is, the immortal jingle. And this was the year of the email. 1972 saw the very first email sent across the ARPA network by this handsome devil, Ray Tomlinson, the designer of the message program that uses the @key to divide the receiver name and the server address. Unfortunately, the exact content of the email was unknown. My guess is a rickroll. Later on in 1973, work began on what would later be called the TCP/IP, a network protocol which would allow for multiple networks of computers to communicate between one another. This was a great milestone and perhaps the biggest along the road to the world-spanning internet we know today. Only 2 years later, in 1976, Dr. Robert M. Metcalfe invented one of the greatest boons for the computer industry in the form of Ethernet, which allowed for extremely fast data movement through coaxial cables. That same year also saw the rise of SatNet, the Atlantic Packet Satellite Network, which successfully linked the United States to Europe. 1983 was another big year for the Internet, as on January 1st of this year, the TCP/IP had become the core Internet protocol, and anyone operating on the ARPA network had to be connected to it. If they weren't,
Does not compute.
Exactly. No networking for them. By 1986, due in no small part to the intervening years seeing a great deal of expansion and upgrades, the IETF was created, this being the Internet Engineering Task Force, whose job is essentially to make the Internet work, and then make it work better. They weren't the only ones to take on this task, and in 1990, Advanced Network and Services Incorporated introduced their new T3 line, a 45 megabyte per second line that was put to immediate use. In fact, those lines were so effective at moving data that it was deemed fit to have the ARPANET replaced with the more modern and faster NSFNet, the National Science and Foundation Network. ARPANET was immediately disbanded after. Gone, but not forgotten. 1992 and 93 were both big years in terms of creating the everyman's Internet. 92 saw the release of the World Wide Web, and the founding of the Internet Society, who are responsible for the Internet's continued growth and future. And in 93, Mark Andreessen, with the aid of NCSA, developed a user-friendly graphical interface for the World Wide Web, making it more accessible for the general public. As a result, the growth rate exploded. In 94 alone, Pizza Hut introduced online ordering through their website, the first cyberbank, called First Virtual, opened its metaphorical doors, and hundreds of thousands of new users are added to this steadily enlarging data exchange device. Come 1996, the heavy cyber traffic is carried by many different competing Internet service providers, some of which you, the viewers, may already be familiar with. At the same time, the Internet Society is researching new TCP/IP technology, which would allow for billions of new users. This same year, Internet 2 is established, a non-profit network consortium for the research and development of Internet critical technology. Here in 1999, a new technology called 802.11b, more commonly referred to as Wi-Fi, becomes standardized. In the years that follow, this wireless Internet tool becomes a built-in feature in portable computers and many other Internet-compatible devices. By the new millennium, the Internet has become an irreplaceable tool in the lives of billions of users in every corner of the globe. The following years saw the introduction of multifunction Palm devices, gizmos of every sort, and newer and faster wireless networks, all geared towards providing and exchanging data as easily as possible. So now, more than television, radio, the roadways, railways, planes, trains, or automobiles, it is the Internet that connects more people around the globe than anything else humanity has ever created. From the first satellite across decades of effort down to the handheld in your pockets, the Internet has grown into a global digital highway and will continue to grow in the years to come. Thank you for watching.